Good evening, guys, and welcome to interview preparation session on 6th of April, which is being conducting by 360 Digi TMG. And in today's session, we'll just look some of the questions, brief questions, which mostly you might have to focus on. Okay, so as of now, first question for the day, guys: is Python an object-oriented programming language? Yes or no? And what is an object-oriented programming language is? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, is Python is an object-oriented programming language, or an yes, Python is an object-oriented programming language. Means it can enclose the codes within the objects themselves. So the property allows the storage of the data and the method in a single unit called as an object. So yeah, it is an object-oriented programming language. Python obeys that. So as we jump into the next question, what is a Python module and how it is differ from libraries? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Now, as we look into this, what is a Python module and how it's different from libraries? A module is nothing but it is a single file which contains some definitions, functions, variables inside it. So it is an extensive extension of .py format, and it can also be imported at any time during the session. To be imported only once. Once only it will be imported. So to import this Python file, we do use module underscore name to import. So as we go across with this library, and library is a collection of reusable functionalities, which means we can reuse them codes, right? So that allows us to perform a variety of tasks without having to write the code. So this Python libraries does not have any specific content to it. So it loosely refers to a collection of modules. So these codes can be used by importing the libraries by calling them. By calling them, they'll just import them, and the libraries will be in a particular period. So as we jump into the next question, what is a PEP8? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now as we look into this, what is this PEP8? So yeah, this PEP8 is a coding convection. So it basically consists of coding guidelines, which are set of recommendations for Python languages, and also about making the Python more readable and usable for some other persons like our users. So that's what a PEP8 actually means. So as we jump into the next question, name mutable and immutable objects. So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, what are this mutable and immutable objects? The mutable of a data structure, that is ability to change the portion of the data structure without having to recreate it, which means once it has been created and it has been assigned, which cannot be recreated again. So mutable objects are list sets values in a dictionary. Immutable is set of data dictionaries that cannot be changed, which means if you come across this mutable objects can be changed once they have been created. Again, we can recreate them. If you come across this immutable, once they have been created, they can't be changed. Some of the examples for this immutable objects are integers, strings, floats, booleans, tuples, keys, as well as some dictionaries. So as we jump into the next question, what are compound data types and data structures? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, what are the compound data types and data structures? The data types that is constructed using simple, primitive, and basic data types are compound data types, where the data structures in Python allows us to store multiple observations, these are list, tuples, sets, and dictionaries, etc. These are them. So as we jump into the next question, what is the main difference between a list and a tuple? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, the main differences between the list and tuple. A list are enclosures with their square braces. The representation might be different with list and tuples. Lists are mutable. That is, their elements and size can be changed. Lists are slower than tuples. Example A, I, one. So these are some of the examples for list. If you come across tuples, the representation of tuples were enclosed with parentheses. So tuples are immutable, as we all know, and which cannot be edited. So tuples are faster than list. It's a bit more faster than list. The process in the tuples will be more faster than list. Tuples must be used when the order of the elements of a sequence matters. It should be in a sequence. Example 20, x, x, so on. So yeah, if we go with the next question, what are list and dictionary comprehension? Give an example of each. So if anyone knows the answer, try typing me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. As we look into this, what were this list and dictionary comprehensions? The Python comprehensions are some kind of syntactic constructions. They basically provide a way to build a list, to build a dictionaries or set based on their existing list. Dictionaries are set wise filtering elements. So these are generally more compact, faster, and normal functions and loops from creating list. So must avoid writing very long comprehensions in one line to ensure the code is user friendly and to maintain it readability. So if we write a code a bit more long, we can't read it. It should be user friendly and it should be maintained in such a level that it should be readable. As we jump into the next question, what are generators and decorators? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. As we look into this, what are these generators and decorators? A generator is a function returning an iteration or object over which can be iterated. That is by taking one value at a time. A decorator allows us to modify or alternate the functions, methods, as well as classes. This is how they have been defined as. So yeah, as we jump into the next question, what is the difference between percentile, slash, and double slash? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. As we look into this, this is a modulus operator and returns a reminder after the division. Slash. This is an operator that returns the quotient after the division. So double slash. This is a floor division that rounds off the quotients to the bottom. These were the operators for them. So as we jump into the next question, what is the difference between is and equal, double equal? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah, as we look into this, double equal, double equal. It's basically checks the equality between the variables, and is checks for identity of the variables. So these are the two different entities. So these are not same. So these are particularly differ with each other. So as we jump into the next question, what is the difference between indexing and slicing? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, what is the differences between the indexing and slicing? Indexing is extracting or looking up one or particular values in a data structure, whereas slicing is retrieves. It retrieves the sequence of element. It retrieves the whole sequence of element. Whereas indexing only some particular value. Slicing sequence of elements, list of combined group of elements. That's the only difference between them. So as we jump into the next question, what is the lambda function? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. So as we look into this, what is this lambda function? Lambda function are some anonymous or some nameless functions. So these functions are basically called anonymous because they are not declared in the standard manner by using the definition keyword. So it doesn't require the return keyword as well. So this is an implicit in this function. The function can have any number of parameters. It does have n number of parameters, any number of parameters, but can have just one statement and return just one value in the form of an expression. So they cannot contain commands, multiples, and their expressions, right? So that's the only thing this lambda function is, and it's basically called as a nameless function and anonymous function. So as we jump into the next question, what is the difference between delete, clear, remove, and pop? What does this function actually means? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. So yeah, as we look into this, what is the difference between delete, clear, remove, pop, and all those functions? Delete, it basically respects the position of the value and it does not return which value is deleted. So it also changes the index towards the right by decreasing one value. It also used to detect, delete the entire data structure. Clear, it basically clears the list which are assigned to them. Remove, it deletes with respect to the value, hence can be used if you know which particular value to be deleted. Pop, so by default it removes the last element and also returns back which value is deleted. It even deletes the element as well as it return back the element. So it is used extensively when we would want to create a referencing. In sense, we can store this deleted return values in a variable and use in the future. So as we jump into the next question, what is the difference between range, xrange, and arange? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. So as we look into this, range, xrange, and arange. Range, it basically returns a Python list objects. It basically lists an object which might be of integers, which might be of basic functions, Pythons. This is called range. If you come across an xrange, it basically returns the range object. Arrange, it is a function of NumPy library. So as we all do know, there are n number of libraries which we use in Python. So yeah, it can be return fraction values as well. As we jump into the next question, what is the difference between pass, continue, and break? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Now, as we look into this, what is the difference between break, pass, break, and continue functions? Pass, it is used when you need some blocks or codes, but you need to skip its execution part. So that's where you basically have to need a function of this block code, pass code. Continue, it allows to skip some part of loop when it specifies the condition. It controls the transferred elements of from the beginning of the loops, and this loop it does not terminate but continues to the next iteration part. This means next part, it just holds this part and just terminates to the next part. Break, it allows the loop to terminate and some condition it met, and it controls the program flow statement immediately. So it basically totally holds upon the particular termination. It again starts with the next loop. So if the break statement is inside a nested loop, then the break statement will terminate in the inner. So as we jump into the next question, what are namespaces in Python? So if anyone knows the answer, try to ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. Yeah. Now, as we look into this, what is this namespace in Python? It is a naming system which is used to ensure the object which has a unique name, which has the same unique name, and it is a like a space like a visual purpose, or it might be a somewhat a space purpose or a container purpose, which is assigned to each and every variable which is mapped inside the object. So when we basically call of this variable, this assigned space or container, it has been searched and hence the corresponding object as well. So Python, it basically maintains a dictionary for this kind of purpose, which is called as. Okay, so as we jump into the next question, what is the difference between the global variable as well as a local variable? So if anyone knows the answer, can ping me in the chat box, and we'll discuss the answer within a minute. as we look into this, what is the difference between this? Yeah. Global variables are one that are defined and declared outside a function, and we need to use them inside a function. A variable declared inside the function body or the local scope is called as a local variable. So as we jump into the next question, what is a default value? As we all know, default value is nothing but it's an argument, which means the function will take the default parameter, a value, if it basically users has not given any predefined parameter values in front of that. That's only a default value stands for. So as we jump into the next question, when to use our for loop and while loop? What were the different cases we can use them? Yeah, for loop is used beyond some before a hand which elements need to be iterated. So if you want to iterate, if you want to iterate over every element of the data structure, then we have to use this for loop. On the other hand, the while loop is used to check, it basically used to check for some conditions on the variable. Here we know exactly the condition to run, but we do not know how many times it runs the loop. So last question for the day, guys. What is a class and an object? As you all know, a class is a user defined prototype, which basically is a blueprint that defines the nature of the future object, and an object is an instance of a class. So therefore classes can construct instances of an object. So this is how an instance is and object is. So that's it for the day, guys. Thanks for attending the session. So we'll meet in the next session, guys. Thank you.